It is not your personal weakness that you crave external validation. You were trained to depend on external validation in order to earn love. And if you're the black sheep or the cycle breaker of your family, you are in the right place. Welcome back to the Becoming Enough podcast. My name is Roshni and I'm your host. I'm also a self-worth coach and a tarot reader, and I help black sheep and cycle breakers rebuild their self-worth after surviving their toxic families. I only really focus on toxic parents, but if you've also had a narcissistic partner, you may relate to a lot of what we're talking about in this episode. And what we're focusing on today is where your need for external validation comes from. A lot of black sheep and cycle breakers look at this as something that they just came up with or some sort of failure of their identity. But it is not that. Your need for external validation was trained and encouraged by your toxic family. And honestly, I feel like this is a huge overlap with anyone who's dealt with a narcissist, because narcissists love to and depend on controlling you. And by them using that control over you, they are ultimately training you to seek their happiness over your own. So this toxic family member or this narcissist in your life essentially trained you to believe that you weren't even worthy of taking up space. You weren't even worthy of doing anything that is inherently you unless you were doing it to make them happy, unless you were doing something to make them look good or something that they wanted you to do. So all of a sudden, you stop chasing internal validation. And if this is a toxic family member, you're a child when this is happening. You're still developing. And because of that, you don't even have the opportunity to build your internal validation. You often don't have an opportunity to build your identity at all because they are so focused on using you as some sort of prop or something that they can show the world so that people are proud of them or impressed by them. Or, again, I talk about it all the time as if you're like this doll that they take out of the closet when they need validation, when they need you to make them look good, when they need something from you. But when it comes to your own joy, your own happiness, your own development, your own identity, they're nowhere to be found. There's a few different ways that a narcissistic parent will do this, and this doesn't even encompass all of the ways, but I just wanted to give a few examples so that you have a better understanding of what I'm talking about, right? So one of the things that a narcissistic parent will do, or a toxic parent, is that they will put you down every single time you're doing something that you want to do, right? So it could be a hobby that you have, it could be a friend that you want to hang out with, it could be the music you listen to. And I've related to every single one of these things in my upbringing, right? Where you pick something that makes you feel good or that you're excited about or that you want to do, and they constantly put you down. They shame you for doing those things or listening to that music or hanging out with that person. They might make fun of your friends in front of them or behind their backs so that you start getting something in your mind. They might constantly tell you that all your friends or the people around you are jealous of you, even though you have a positive relationship with that, so that they can get in your head and break apart those relationships to continue isolating you. They could also look at your hobbies or look at the way you dress or express yourself and make fun of your voice, make fun of your body, literally do anything they possibly can to insult and bring down your confidence. And by you doing that, and by them doing that to you, you all of a sudden second guess yourself. You're filled with doubt. You're looking at your entire environment and your friend groups and your own interests and your own body with a sense of judgment. You are no longer just pursuing things because your heart tells you to, or because it's fun, or because you're finding joy in them, but instead you're constantly being trained to scan your entire environment, not through your own eyes, not through your own feelings or your own heart, but instead through what they would see. And this is especially common in really conservative households or in very extremely religious households, where you know that they would see something as a sin, even though you don't agree with that. Like, some people can consider wearing makeup to be a sin, or having friends of the opposite sex a sin. Whatever those examples are, you can have a lot of these things come up where you feel like what you're doing is completely innocent and completely normal by everyone else's standards, but based on how they react, how they put you down, how they speak to you, how they treat you when you do all of these things, you start to look at the world not through your own heart space, not through your own eyes and your own perception, but instead you're constantly scanning your environment, what's going to make them mad, what's going to set them off, and constantly you stop looking out for yourself. You stop looking out for what it is that makes you feel good, or what it is that makes sense for your identity. You stop being able to self-express, and instead you shut down. You become boring. You wear clothes you don't want to wear. You don't follow the hobbies that you want to do because of this extreme sense of judgment. And sometimes, especially if you are still a child, they can ban you from doing any of these things, or not allow you to, or refuse to fund you doing these things, right? Even thinking about the parents who say, I'll only pay for college if you take this major, right? And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Now I'm trapped. I either have to not go to school at all, or I have to take on a lot of debt, or I have to do this thing that I don't care about. And there's so many different ways that your parents, especially based on their worldview, use that as a way to control you, to make sure that you're not following your own identity, but instead only looking at you and using you as a vehicle to make themselves proud, or to fulfill their own dreams, or to just make sure that you're not going to embarrass them. That takes away your ability to make your own decisions. It takes away your ability to make mistakes in life, or to just follow your own path and to have that trust in yourself, because you are never given that opportunity to build trust in the first place. Another thing that they do is they constantly move the goalpost. If you achieve one thing that they told you to achieve, instead of celebrating you, instead of giving you your kudos for that, or being proud of you, or just letting you soak that in and praising you, they instead move on to the next thing and demand you to accomplish more, to do more. You are never enough. They are literally teaching you that you are not enough when they move the goalpost. And it's not at all about you achieving these goals and accomplishing these things. More often than not, it is a form of control. Because if it was just about you accomplishing those things, then they would at least give you a moment to rest, to be so proud of you, to celebrate you, to show you how proud they are of you and how grateful they are and how proud you should be of yourself. But if your parents are consistently moving the goalpost and never giving you time to celebrate yourself, never giving you time to rest, never allowing you to feel like you have accomplished something, then they are training you to need their validation. They are training you to depend on them for your ability to be proud of yourself. And then you accomplish something, you sacrifice your blood, sweat, and tears to do something that they wanted you to do. And instead of even just giving you a moment to be proud of yourself, giving you a moment to shower you with their happiness or their pride or whatever it is, they instead say, well, now do this. Where's this? Where's X, Y, and Z? Or they just never show gratitude for you doing something for them. Thinking about all the immigrant daughters or all the eldest daughters out there who have paid for their parents to do certain things, paid their parents' house off, or, accomplished all these things, even landing that big 6-figure job or whatever it is that you had to do in order to survive. They never really are proud of you for that. Right? They might be proud, or they might brag about you to other people to make themselves look good, but they are constantly asking you for money and never showing gratitude. They're making you feel like you are obligated to take care of them. And this is where the immigrant experience comes into things and becomes really complicated, but you don't deserve to be constantly put down by anybody. Put yourself in the other position. If they were doing things for you and you weren't showing gratitude, how would they treat you? And that means that they understand the importance of gratitude. That means that they understand why you deserve that, because they think that they deserve that. But they still aren't capable of showing it to you, because that would give you a sense of control. That would give you a sense of pride. That would give you a leg up in their mind over them. And they can't handle that. Their egos are too fragile for that. So instead, they constantly move the goalpost. Oh, great, you got into this amazing school. Great. How good are your grades going to be? You need to be doing more. You need to be earning more money while you're in school. Okay, you're doing all of that and you graduated and you got straight A's, or well, where's your six-figure job? Oh, okay, you got that job. Well, where is our money? Where's our piece of it? Oh, you got that. Where is your husband? What are you doing? Where's your partner? Where are your kids? What kind of wedding are you going to have? You better pay for all of it, but you better do exactly what we want, even though you're using your own money, because you don't deserve any ability to make a decision for yourself. And you are just a vessel for us to be proud of ourselves, for us to brag in front of our friends. So, moving the goalpost is how they maintain that sense of control over you, even if you're an adult, because they are constantly withholding their love and their pride for you. And that means that you are constantly chasing that dangling carrot of their validation. What more can I do to make them happy? What more can I do? What more do they need? How can I, how? And you essentially, like, not to be so graphic, but you almost gut yourself trying to offer every last thing you could possibly offer until you decide that you have had enough. That is when it ends. It doesn't end by you telling them, hey, like, I'm feeling this way. When have they ever listened to your feelings? This kind of cycle will continue until you just stop listening to them. You are going to have to make them upset or make them angry in order to break this cycle. And it's not like I'm trying to push that or say that you should put yourself in any kind of dangerous situation at all. I'm just saying that there's never going to be an easy, nice agreement with a controlling, toxic parent. They are going to vie for as much control as they can possibly get over you, especially if they are a narcissist. They are just going to reach for more and more and more. And the cycle stops when you decide to stop caving in. It's not going to stop by you suddenly giving them enough and then they never ask for anything again, because that goal will always keep moving. And the last example I'm going to use is actually the trickiest one, because it is that they sometimes actually do praise you. And this isn't even always genuine, but this is what goes back into moving the goalpost. They might tell you occasionally that they are proud of you. They might say, oh my God, look at my daughter. Like, isn't she amazing, to all of their friends? They might throw you a big party every now and then, or do something to make you look good, or tell you that they're proud of you, or tell you that they love you, but it's a bait and switch. They're baiting you in so that they still have some sort of control over you, because it always goes back to the previous pattern. It always goes back to them yelling at you and abusing you and not letting you spread your wings and putting you down and shaming you and judging you and telling you what to do and what you can't do, even if you're a fully grown adult. The list keeps going on. So if them telling you that they're proud of you, or that they love you, or that they're happy for you, is this much of a piece of a puzzle, and the rest of the puzzle is filled with their anger and chaos and shame and judgment, it's not true. It's not truly honest, because they are giving you that little inch so that they can take a mile. They are giving you that little couple of sentences every few months so that you think, maybe there is a chance. Maybe I do need to go back. Maybe I do need to keep making them proud, because no, like they do love me and they are proud of me, and I just need to give them a little bit more. It baits you right back in to chasing their goals, to chasing what they need from you. And again, we're talking about external validation and how you're trained to chase it. They have to give you that little sweet treat. It's like a company treating you awfully for 6 months and then throwing everyone a pizza party. It's like this little thing that really means nothing, because their actions aren't changing, your pay isn't changing, the environment isn't changing, but they give you this little sprinkle of something positive in hopes that that's going to be enough for them to continue the mistreatment. And that messes with your head more than anything else, because all you want is to be loved, and all you deserve from your family is to be loved. This is one of the things that I feel like really overlaps into a narcissistic partner as well. Even though that's not what I usually talk about, they'll give you these compliments. They'll lay things on pretty thick. They'll make you feel so special. They'll make you feel like the only person they could ever care about. But then it all happens again. It's part of the cycle. They have to do that because it trains you to continue hoping for change. It's like, no, but I know he's a good person, because how could he treat me this way? How could he say that to me if he didn't mean it? But then all the negative things that that person says, you realize they also mean that too. Or they don't mean any of it. But either way, neither one of those things is healthy. It still keeps you guessing, though. It keeps you clocked into the cycle. So, if this is apparent for you, you were raised in that environment where you are essentially trapped and trained to seek their praise instead of flourishing on your own. And also, it is always scary to go out on your own. It is always scary to forge a new path. It's always scary to chase your identity or to continue pursuing your hobbies and putting yourself out there more and more and more. It's difficult whether you're 13 years old or 30 years old, right? It's part of the path, part of finding your own identity and creating your own self. There's going to be moments on that journey that feel scary or that you don't know what you're doing or you feel like you're walking into the unknown. But if you have encouraging parents, if you have a support system and you know that that is there, you're able to navigate through that fear, especially when you are younger. You can do that at an appropriate developmental age. People are actually able to develop their own sense of self-worth and their own sense of validation because they know that they have that safety net of support, and yet at the same time they are flying their wings. They're pushing themselves out of the nest little by trying new things. And even if the hobby ends up not mattering or the sport ends up not being your life purpose, being able to face those fears or to build yourself back up after a loss or to, whatever those ups and downs are in that journey, those are the things that also help you build self-worth. They help you build soft skills and life skills. And doing that within a supportive network is one of the most valuable things you can experience in this life. Because for a lot of black sheep and cycle breakers like us, no matter how old we are, we never get to experience that sense of a support system. And many of us find our chosen family later in life or find partners that love and support us, and we get to know how grateful we are for those things later on. But we also have to deal with the grief of knowing that we didn't get that kind of support when we needed it the most, when we were children and at our most vulnerable. And that support to pursue the things that you want to pursue ultimately builds your sense of internal validation, because you're not going to take photos for the school yearbook because you're like the next biggest photographer, but you're doing it because it makes you happy, because it's something that you're curious about, that you want to learn more about. It's something that you want to try. And being able to do that in all these different avenues without constantly being judged for it and shamed for it and put down for it, or being told that you need to do something else because it's what they care about or what their interest is, that builds your internal landscape of, oh, this is me following my heart. This is me choosing what I want to do regardless of what the external perception is. It doesn't matter what my friends think because my parents have my back. It doesn't matter even if my parents don't think that I'm the best photographer, because ultimately they are a safe place to land. But when you don't have that, you are chasing love. All humans need to feel love. We need to feel safety. We need to feel human connection, right? And you especially need that with your family. Like, you are literally wired biologically to want that from your family. And I've shared this before, but our human nervous system, like our human selves, associate safety with love from our parents, right? Your parent could decide as an infant to abandon you and you would not be able to survive. And so even if that's just wiring from our caveman days, that is still something that exists within ourselves and our bodies. So it's a deeper biological need to chase that love and that validation from our parents. We literally need that. And that is what makes it's like it eclipses your ability to create this internal validation, especially at a young age. You want to chase their love more than anything. You want to earn your worthiness. You want to earn your enoughness through their love. With them dangling it in front of you like a carrot, giving it to you in little bits and pieces, but also showing you true judgment and anger and all of these other things, you start to minimize your own experience because your words don't matter. Anytime you speak up for yourself, you are talking back. You deserve to be punished even more. So you shut down in every way possible, and you learn that external validation is the only way to be worthy of even taking up space. You learn that seeking out your own identity or following your sense of internal validation deprives you of love and love from your family. So you choose that love over and over and over again, which means you are choosing that external validation. And you learn to put yourself and your needs aside and to sacrifice yourself and to please other people above everything, because you associate that with your ability to be loved, your ability to take up space, and your ability to be worthy. You don't see your worthiness as something that belongs inside of you. You see your worthiness as something that someone else has to reflect back to you, because that is what you were trained to do. And that's why this is not a failure of your identity. It's not something that you just came up with. It's not some weakness or some failure on your part. You were trained to be this way. And that's why undoing this wiring is so important. Our subconscious will continue to run this script until we intentionally change it. You need to intentionally rewrite that script to remind yourself that you're worthy, to prove to yourself that you can create your own identity, that you can create a sense of internal validation. And this takes time, and it takes repetition, and it takes consistency, but it is possible. You are able to rewrite this script at any time, and it's up to you to do it. But until you intentionally do, their voices are going to be louder than your own because they made it that way. And if you are inspired by this content and you want to work together, I have one-on-one sessions of self-worth coaching specifically for Black Sheep and Cycle Breakers and eldest daughters and parentified children, so that we can look at your biggest energy leaks, so that we can find your biggest and strongest worthiness wounds. And you don't have to even know what those are or know exactly what you want to work on. That is what I'm good at doing. That is what I am good at doing. I am able to look at the problems that you are telling me you're facing and to help you figure out, okay, where is this tied up in a self-worth wound? Where could this have come from? And what are we going to do about it now? I take a life coaching approach, which means that I'm not here to just marinate on all the things that happened to you in your past. I am here to help you move forward and create a life that feels like that wasn't even a part of your past. I want you to be able to be the person you were always meant to be by rewriting your story. And if you're not ready to work together one-on-one, but you do want something to be able to continue this work, I created the self-worth blueprint for anyone who is in that in-between phase of wanting to dip their toe in, wanting to definitely create a sense of self-worth, wanting to learn more about your Black Sheep experience. I specifically have a whole section in the self-worth blueprint where I talk about conditional love, which is a lot of this same theme of only being loved when you fulfill certain conditions. And I also include somatics and EFT in this course so that you're able to get a comprehensive look at rebuilding your self-worth, not just through the mind, but also through the body. And that course is only $50 for everything. There's no live classes. It's completely self-paced so that you are able to access this work and do it in a way that fits your schedule and so that it doesn't contribute to you feeling behind. There is a one-time $50 payment, or I also created a payment plan of $15 a month for 3 months to make this accessible, because I don't want finances to stop you from being able to do this work. I do also offer sliding scale options for one-on-one self-worth coaching. So if you're like, I need one-on-one work, but finances are still an issue, please email me at roshni@blacksheepexperience.com, and I'm happy to find something that works for both of us so that you can still continue to get this work. Okay, that brings me to the end of this video. I hope that it resonated. I hope that it inspired you. I hope that it reminded you that you deserve to feel your internal validation. You deserve to chase your own identity. And ultimately, that you deserve to feel worthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And I'm sending you so much love. Remember that you're worthy whether you believe it or not.